A question that they ask me all the time is, should I put my partner on my mortgage? Usually they're saying that they don't want to put their partner on their mortgage, usually because of credit issues. But today I'm going to talk through the pros and cons of putting your partner on your mortgage. I'll be talking you through the things that you should consider before you even start the mortgage application. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and there are questions that everybody asks, and they're around joint mortgages. Should I do a joint mortgage? Should I do a solo mortgage? Remember, if you're going to put someone on the mortgage with you, there might be some limitations that you face. So you might face some limitations due to income. You might face some limitations due to age. Or maybe you're thinking or asking this question because of stamp duty. No matter what your reason is, I'm going to explain to you the pros and cons of putting someone else on your mortgage application. Always remember that your home may be at risk if you don't keep up the repayments on your mortgage. So a lot of people ask me, Anthony, I want to do a mortgage, but I'm not sure if I should put my partner on there. Is it going to impact my income as far as the affordability? Will it impact the type of house I can get? And the answer is always yes. Everything you do on a mortgage application impacts everything else. So you want to speak to a mortgage broker in advance. Sometimes if you're a couple, it may be a obvious answer as far as should you do a joint application. But what if you're just dating? What if one of the people has had a divorce? What if one of the people has poor credit, or you're thinking around the whole idea of stamp duty? These are all the things that we're going to go through. So make sure you watch all the way until the end, because as with everything that is mortgage related, every detail counts, and every additional thing that you add as far as complexity or just quirks are going to affect the type of mortgage and the lender that you can go with. So why do couples decide to do a mortgage together? So some people decide to do a mortgage together simply because it will increase their affordability. So instead of having one income, you have two incomes. Another reason why people might do it is to share the responsibility. So they're together, they're going to be running a house together. So they want to make sure that each person is on the mortgage and each person is contributing to the mortgage on an equal basis. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing, but keep in mind, banks don't go on love or, oh, we have these great feelings about each other. Banks are going to look at the facts. Banks are going to assess the affordability based on various criteria. So, how do lenders really think? If you want to understand how lenders think, you have to understand how mortgages work. So, usually, a mortgage is going to be based on the worst person. So, what I mean by that is if you have two people and one has great credit and the other person has poor credit, then the mortgage application will be based on the person with the poor credit. Another thing, age, and this comes into play a lot. If you're like a lot of couples, like me and my wife, there's a age difference between us. So sometimes there's an age difference, and therefore it's going to impact the application and the type of mortgages you can get. And another thing that people don't always take into account is the employment status. So you may be full time, PAYE, whereas the other person on the application is self employed or recently has gone self employed, or maybe they're a contractor and they're paid through an umbrella. These are all of the things that a lender is going to look at when they're assessing your mortgage application. One of the key things that you want to make sure that you do when you're considering getting a mortgage is speaking to a mortgage broker. Because if you speak to a mortgage broker, they'll be able to help you through all of the different things and the nuances in getting a mortgage before you get started, before you start applying with banks. So the first thing you should do is make sure you speak to a mortgage broker when you're considering if you should or you shouldn't do a joint application. Sometimes a joint application is going to be great, it's going to work. Sometimes it's not going to work. So speaking to a mortgage broker, you'll be able to assess that in advance.